This is a review of set 6082 Fire Breathing Fortress from the Castle line. It is part of the Dragon Knight subtheme and was released in the year 1993. It originally retailed for $64 and according to the box is 393 pieces. Here I have the instructions and they are very roughed up, but that's okay. This is what the box art would have looked like. And no alternate builds on the back, although there is another shot of the same main build of the castle. And it looks like somebody did a kind of poor job of trying to rip the points corner thing off. I'm not really sure what those were for, but some of the older 90s sets had them on the instructions. So we're going to go ahead and get to building. So here's the completed set, and as you can see it's quite an imposing build. Especially with the height of that back tower there, I can barely even fit it in frame here. So of course we gotta take a look at our minifigures first. So our first figure here is the Dragon Master Knight, and this is pretty much the same guy that we saw in the Dark Dragon's Den, and as I said there, I think he's a fantastic minifigure. He again comes on a brown horse with a red saddle and a red dragon mask. He's also got a halberd on this side, and then this time instead of having one of the cloth flags, he's got these two plastic flags in the Dragon Knight's colors. And then here's the figure. He has the same torso, legs, head print, helmet, and everything else essentially. He's also got the amazing Dragon Knight's cloth cape with a cute little dragon printed on there. I love that. He has the Dragon Knight's shield and then a short sword. There's his face print, another one that I like a lot. And the only thing that's different about this guy from the Dark Dragon's Den is that these dragon ornament pieces are instead in yellow. And there's even another version of this guy that has them in blue, so I think it's cool that they had them come out in 3 separate colors, and I really love these pieces. Like I said before, they really make this figure stand out. Next up we have a Dragon Knight's Archer, and this is a pretty all-around standard figure. He has got the Dragon Knight's emblem on his chest there, and he's got the standard head print that we've seen many times before. And then he's got his bow and arrow and quiver on the back, and the neat little pith helmet. And then we have another generic Dragon Knight's figure here. He is pretty much the same as the other guy, except his helmet shaping is a little bit different, and this time he's got a crossbow instead of a bow and arrow. And our last Dragon Knight here is another guy that is the same as the last, except this time instead of a crossbow, he's got a short sword and then one of the large Dragon Knight's shields. I think it's good that they covered the whole spectrum here by having a swordsman, a crossbowman, and an archer. So this set again includes the Wizard Magisto, and he is a fantastic simple wizard. He has got all blue robes, and then a small plastic black cape on the back there. He's got the same glow-in-the-dark wand piece that we saw in the last set, and then this time he's got a clear minifigure head, which I guess is supposed to be Merlin's crystal ball, or Magisto's crystal ball in this case, which is really neat. I love when they give us pieces like this in unique colors. And then again, underneath his magnificent beard, he has got a standard smiley face print, as well as the Forestman torso print in blue. And then our last figure in this set is their prisoner, this little wolf pack renegade. And I love these guys too, they look very roughed up. He's got the nice silver wolf print on his chest there. He's got an eye patch, and then the cool peasant hood in black. So all in all, we get 6 minifigures, which maybe is on the low side for a raised base plate castle. But it does also include a dragon. And no Dragon Knight set would be complete, of course, without this fantastic big fig. This guy right here is the same one that we saw in the Dark Dragon's Den. He is all green except for his nice red dragon wings there. And of course he's able to breathe fire out of his mouth. And his arms are posable, as well as his head here, which does look a little strange when you can open it up that wide. His tail is also posable, and his wings can pose as well. An incredibly iconic 90s piece, and like I said before, one of my favorites. So I think this does help to make up a little bit for the fact that there are only 6 minifigures, because it's kind of like 6 minifigures in a big fig in my opinion. And comparatively, there are a lot of other raised baseplate castles that include more minifigures, like the Black Knight's Castle or the King's Mountain Fortress. However, we gotta remember that this set originally retailed for much cheaper than those ones, so they weren't able to include as many minifigures, and I think that's okay. So I've gotta say, I think that this castle is fantastic, and in my opinion is severely underrated. It's often overshadowed by other raised baseplate castles like the Black Knight's Castle or the King's Mountain Fortress. And I think that's a shame because this really is a fantastic imaginative castle. So of course we'll move in closer and I'll give you a better look at all the features. Now right out front here we've got this giant dragon head hanging over the side, and I think we might as well get this out of the way first. In my opinion, this feels kind of like the standout element that sets it apart from the Black Knight's Castle and the King's Mountain Fortress and some of the other more traditional castles. Having this gigantic dragon head just swiveling off the side of your castle definitely firmly roots this in the fantasy realm, and I think a lot of AFOLs don't really care for it because of that. I could be wrong, that is just what I imagine. And admittedly, I'm not too big of a fan of it either, but I appreciate that it at least has a play feature built into it. So you just load up some of the extra 1x1 bricks that they have on the side there, and then you pull this pin, and down come the rocks. And it doesn't do a whole lot, but this is a playset first and foremost, and I'm sure that would be a lot of fun as a kid. But another great thing about it is that if you decide that you really just don't want this here, it's actually just slid right onto this axle right here, so you can just pop that right off. And in my opinion, if that is the specific thing that makes it feel too childish for you, go ahead and pull that off, and it looks a lot better. There's nothing that looks like it's glaringly missing. You could even maybe throw like a flagpole in here. Just real quick, here's what that would look like. Honestly, I think that does look fantastic. You can maybe even do one of these smaller flags if you don't want it to take up that much space. Anyways, enough on that. Back to the rest of the castle. So I guess I should point out that it, of course, uses this nice ramped raised base plate, and that is the one with the large pit in the center. We saw this in plenty of sets in the 90s, and it does have this nice black print for the rocks. The other ones for the King's Mountain Fortress and the Black Knight's Castle have light gray rocks. So I do think the dark gray and black look really cool as a baseplate print. Now when we get up to the front entryway of the castle, it has this really nice looking dragon printed arch. And then we've got a hidden wall that you can actually break down. And that is just on these hinges here, and it slides right open. So your Wolfpack Renegade can break in or out of the castle, which is pretty cool. It also has these nice medium-sized wooden doors, which are pretty rare to find. And of course those can open up to take you inside the castle. So here's the interior, and we can close the gates to get more space. So that right there is where the wall breaks down. So there is actually a little bit of space to get back in there. In this segment here, we don't have a whole lot. It's more just a walkway, but we do have this nice roofed section and then a wall over here. And of course, they even thought to add stairs leading up to the second floor. And if we turn it around to this side, we can see a better shot of the jail cell in the back there, and that's where you can lock up the Wolfpack Renegade. It's probably easier to get at it from this side, and it does have some nice arching here to build up the side, and you can just pop that open, and it's able to open up fully, and we can break our guy out of jail. So pretty cool that they were able to fit that in on the ground floor. So now we can move it up to the top floor, and this has a surprising amount of space to be able to pose your minifigures. If we take all these off, you can see that there's tons of open area here, and there's even a little room back there. And before we continue with the rest of the second floor, I gotta show you the dragon's den at the bottom here. We do have some nice trees growing out of the side up here, which is something we've seen before in many of the castle sets. We also have some shrubs on either side, and then this large grate that opens up to reveal the dragon inside. And thanks to the pit molding on this raised base plate, he is able to fully and comfortably fit at the bottom of that. And the entryway is also large enough to be able to get him out, so it's really no hassle to get in and out of there, and I appreciate that, especially for such a large big fig here. And then over in the back there, as we saw in the Dark Dragon's Den, we've got our dragon guarding some treasure. And at this point, I'm sure you know what's inside, just our standard translucent studs to indicate gems. So now we can return to the second floor, and one of my favorite things about this set is the play feature built in here. You might have already noticed it, but honestly it is very well concealed. And if your Wolfpack Renegade is trying to escape, maybe make a break for it, you can just send him down to the Dragon's Den. And this, I really have to say, is the best creation of a trapdoor out of pieces before they made the actual trapdoor piece. And honestly, given that this is a 6x8 plate that drops, it may be even better than that specific piece. And the reason it's so great, in my opinion, is because it is fully concealed when you have it all the way up. It's honestly pretty hard to even see any gaps. I'd say the only thing that gives it away is this tile here that covers the gap at the end. When you remove that, you can see the mechanism barely underneath. But I don't think having that tile there is too out of place anyways, so I'm okay with it. And the way it works is that you've got this 1x1 brick here, and the whole mechanism is actually built into the build itself. And when you pull it here and it gets to the very end, it just drops out from underneath. And it's got this arched piece at the very end so that when you push it back, it is able to just push it right back up to the correct position. No hassle at all. Just a fantastic play feature in my opinion. Don't worry, he's okay. Now we've also got plenty of accessories around. We've got 2 large halberds here and here, and then a spear right there. And then one of the last segments here is this back tower that gives this set a lot of extra height. We've got this really nice red conical dome piece, and that is over top another really nice dragon printed wall piece there. And of course it is topped with another one of these fabric Dragon Knights flags that we saw in a Dark Dragon's Den. Always a very eye-catching piece to have at the top of a build like this. And moving it around to this back room, it also has this nice scroll for Magisto. Same printing as the one we saw in the Dark Dragon's Den. And then another one of my favorite details for this set is that we've even got a tiny little fireplace build in the back of this room here. It's very simplistic. It's just got this slope piece right here and then a 1x1 plate in trans yellow to indicate a fire at the bottom. And to me, it's tiny little details like this that make these sets feel a lot more alive. And so if you've watched any of my other reviews, you know that a lack of interior is something I complain about a lot. And so even something as simple as this is enough to impress me. And for our very last little bit here, we've just got this parapet on the top of the tower, and we can post our crossbowmen up here. And again, I just love how much space there is on the top of this to be able to pose your minifigures. So adjusted for inflation, the set would have retailed for $116.82. And current used prices have it at $121.12. And as I said before, I really think that this is a severely underrated set in the 90s castle themes. It's just got so much going for it with very unique minifigures and very interesting architecture. It's got tons of play features, and due to its height, it's a fantastic display piece. And when I look at sets like Black Knight's Castle, pushing close to $300 right now, I really can't help but be in shock that this set is only $120 right now. I absolutely, without a doubt, think that this set is worth that much. And honestly, looking at other raised baseplate castles, I'm surprised it's not closer to like $150 or $200. Maybe given enough time, people will catch on. But as it stands, if you can find it for that much or even cheaper, definitely go for it. I know that when I got this set, I wasn't expecting a lot from it because of its significantly cheaper price tag than other castles, and I was pleasantly surprised to find that I was mistaken. So go ahead and let me know in the comments what you think of this unique set, and as always, thank you for watching.